Convention on Nuclear Weapons, Part 2. Based on this understanding, the Branch Plan was introduced in 1946 by the US to UNAEC. The Branch Plan was presented by Bernard Baruch, wherein he had propagated the idea that the US should abandon its monopoly on atomic weapons and that the atomic energy could not be controlled through inspections regime alone. Well, they cannot be controlled through inspection regime alone, and therefore all the fissile material should be under control of an international organization. The Baruch Plan also recommended the elimination of atomic weapons from the national armament. The plan, however, could not meet its objectives. Number 3. Series of bilateral and plurilateral treaties dealing with the different aspects of material control. They were dealing with the aspects of material control, proliferation, testing of the nuclear weapons were introduced in the second half of the 20th century. And in 1963, the treaty banning nuclear weapon test in atmosphere, in outer space, underwater, also known as the Partial Test Ban Treaty, PTBT, was introduced. The Partial Test Ban Treaty was then succeeded by the Threshold Test Ban Treaty, TTBT, in 1974. And finally, it was succeeded by the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, CTBT, in 1996. The most important treaty, however, was the Treaty on Non-Proliferation Nuclear Weapons, commonly known as NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, which was introduced in 1968. The focus of the NPT was to control the proliferation of the nuclear weapons and to provide for ways to encourage regulated supply of the nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. The NPT got almost universal acceptance as over 191 countries, including the North Korea, that signed it in 1985, but announced its withdrawal in 2003, adhered to it. Well, one can't blame DPRK for it, but the real signatories were 191 countries, but the real sponsors of NPT were, of course, the United States and their allies. But what actually had happened? While this was happening, United States of America and their allies were secretly proliferating nuclear assets, nuclear technology to Israel. And why did they keep a blind eye to it? They keep it on doing things for themselves on purpose and blind the others. Did Israel not become a nuclear power? Did they not feed Israel with the nuclear weapons? Did they not transfer the technology? And now how could they blame DPRK when they had done the mess on themselves? They are the ones not to test a nuclear weapon or a nuclear device, but to bombshell a nuclear device. And to this day, United States of America have not begged an apology, not said a sorry to Japan for the wrong act that they had done. Let's continue. Alongside the treaties, some arrangements were reached amongst the states that resulted in establishment of the Nuclear Suppliers Group, NSG, and the Missile Technology Control Regime, MTCR. Number 4. Finally, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, was approached by the interested groups to obtain orders prohibiting nuclear weapons. 2 efforts were made. First was the ICJ's advisory opinion about the legality of the nuclear weapons in 1996, which approved counterproductive in the sense that the ICJ held there is in neither customary nor conventional international law any comprehensive and universal prohibition of the threat or the use of nuclear weapons as such. It was also held that the use of nuclear weapons would be subject to the principles of international humanitarian law.